Hello, and welcome to today's Emotional Healing Live. I'm Danielle Gaudette, if you don't know me. Thanks for joining or listening and for supporting my channel. So, hi, Caitlin. Welcome. So, I assume you can hear me. Okay, good. What is this side? Yeah, okay. If there's any problem with the sound, just let me know. So, the topic of, okay, great. Thank you. So, the topic of today's live is tending to your inner child. So, before I even begin, I want to just remind you that I'm on this journey with you. Hi, Blueberry, welcome. So, all the things that I talk about are things that I either have practiced or am currently practicing, and things that I have shared with hundreds of students and clients. So it's like a mixture, but I'm always on the journey with you, and working with my own inner child, or I think of it more like inner children. There seems to be a lot of inner children in there. That's an ongoing process for me. But the reason why this came to my mind, well, okay, let me back up before I say that. So, yeah, just personal sharing. I think I got introduced to this topic of inner child, like this word, inner child healing or inner child work, back in 2013. I had moved to Brooklyn, New York, and I was doing a lot of driving up to Boston. My mother was sick at the time, and I would drive back and forth to Boston often to visit. And I had a CD. I had a CD. It was Louise Hay's book. I think it was her book, You Can Heal Your Life. I think it was that book. And I was listening to the audio, or it was a book of hers. But there was a second CD, like it was supposed to be like the back, the backside, like an additional to the book, which was a guided meditation to communicate, work with, do some healing meditation with your inner child or inner children. Actually, she guided through a few different stages of life. And that was when I first really started to get into it. I would listen to that a lot. I would practice that. I could, I can practice, I can imagine at any time, wherever I am, I can I have a part of my mind that can like be processing. It's just like a very natural part of me. And that's part of why I love to do this work for myself and others, because that comes very naturally to me. So I was processing a lot and meeting my inner children for the first time. It was very helpful. But the interesting thing that happened from that time is that they always stayed with me. So I would sort of go back in and like inside myself and reconnect from time to time and check on them and communicate and listen. And I could see how they were changing and evolving as I was healing and growing in my life, but also places where they were stuck or struggling. And I really kind of feel like this time of my life is where I'm sort of going back in to the parts that never got integrated. They never got processed fully. They're like the deep, deep, deep underbelly parts. So it's a long and slow and it's been a slow and gradual process for me. And I really encourage you to explore inner child work, whatever that means for you. If you can find a meditation, I'm reluctant to guide it here on a YouTube live because I really need to be able to see you and feel you, just in case there's any triggers that come up. I don't want you to be uncomfortably triggered. And I'm not even saying that inner child work has to be triggering work. It doesn't, but we're all different. For me, it was never triggering. It was always soothing and something that I really enjoyed. And really, it's at the root of the work that I'm doing now when I talk about parts work, because all those parts are parts of our child self that haven't been integrated. So all the emotions that hurt, the beliefs, the places where we suffer and struggle. Welcome, Amanda. These are all parts of ourselves that haven't been integrated with us. They're like pieces, like a child, kind of frozen in time, where there may have been a trauma or a hurt in our childhood somewhere. So even just doing parts work itself is kind of like inner child work. You're inevitably working with these child parts of you, and there's no judgment there. There's no criticism. I think it's very healthy for us to admit, oh, yes, I am an adult, but I have a lot of child parts, and I have parts that haven't come like fully online into adulthood. They're stuck somewhere. This you may not realize, but if you explore inner child work, parts work, you will realize it. And then you will see there's a lot of, children, parts of me that are still stuck as a child somewhere, who really need my love and my care. They really need my validation and my recognition. So that sort of brings me to what I was going to say before, which is the reason why I wanted to do this live today. The reason why it came to my mind is because I'm reading a book, and he mentioned about, it's like, he said something, I'm totally paraphrasing here, like, this is how I interpreted it anyway. Okay, this is how I interpreted it. The beauty of when we do inner child work, the beauty of inner child work is that we uncover our inner parent. So we think that it's about the inner child, but actually, really the beauty is realigning with our inner parent, because we have a self that has the ability to parent, to love, to soothe, to validate that inner child. And that really like clicked for me, which is again why I wanted to talk about this today, because in all the years that I practiced it, but especially it came to my awareness as I tried to lead it. I did a lot of, one-on-one inner child facilitating for different clients, and sometimes even in groups. And what I can see is, though those who struggle with inner child work, and I'm using that word work for a reason, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but those who struggle with that is because they have a really hard time getting in touch with their inner parent. Like they can't get out of the child. If I ask them to meet with their inner child, they meet with their inner child as their child self. And so it creates a lot of confusion, and it keeps them stuck in their head, thoughts, memories. But inner child work is not about that. So, okay, I'm using the word inner child work because I'm reluctant to use the word healing. I'm sort of currently meditating on this word healing. So in some ways, some of these lives are becoming challenging because I'm just in the midst of so much processing and contemplation. I don't know, these days, weeks, I would say for the last, I don't know how long, that I'm contemplating a lot of things, and I'm contemplating this word healing. And is it really the right word? Because sometimes when we hear this word, we think, oh, I need to heal myself, my inner child, because it's broken in some way. I need to fix it because there's something wrong with it. But this is not true. This is not the truth. It's not broken. First of all, you yourself, your essence, can never be broken. You, your essence, can't even be wounded. But these inner child parts are parts that are hurting. They're hurting. They just didn't receive something that they needed at the right time. So they're hurting. So if we want to use the word healing to tend to their hurt, okay. But that's why I use the word tend here in this slide. Tending to. Tending to doesn't mean I have to heal you, I have to fix you, there's something wrong with you. I don't want you to give yourself that message. Ever. I don't want you to give yourself or any parts of you or any aspects, emotions, hurting, inner child part, any parts, the message that, oh, there's something wrong with you. You have to change. I have to fix you so I can be better. Healing can sort of make us think that. Like, oh, I'm going to fix this and then it's going to go away. And this breeds a more unhealthy relationship with yourself. Believe me, I know. I know very well. So when I use the word healing, it's about making a healthier relationship. I like this word, relationship, with these parts, harmonizing with these parts of me, with my inner child or my inner children, where I may have been living out of harmony with that part. I may have been fighting with it or pushing it away, hating it, blaming it, criticizing it. It may have been completely in the driver's seat, driving my life, and I may have been just acting and reacting from it. But that's not a healthy relationship with it. If my inner child is in the driver's seat and it's very reactive, it's because it's a cry for help. It's a cry for attention. I want to say attention. Even the word help, just like I was like, oh, no, that's not the right word. Attention, right? So when it's acting up, it wants attention, just as a child that you can see, not an inner child, an outer child is going to act up when they need attention. The body is going to act up when some part of it is out of balance and needs your attention, needs you to rest, to breathe, to listen, to slow down. The body's acting up because it needs your attention. A puppy is acting up when it needs your attention. So the same goes for our inner parts. So it's not about fixing them, healing them to fix them, to make them go away, to make them be better. It's about healing my relationship with them, tending to them, listening when perhaps before I didn't listen, I ignored, or I avoided. Allowing myself to feel them when before I didn't allow myself to feel them. I ran away. I did everything I could to distract myself from them. I kept trying to shoo them. Now I just need to listen. I need to feel. All inner child work must be in the feeling. Otherwise, it's not true inner child work. You can't do this from your head, from your thoughts. I saw a lot of people try to do it like from their memories. It's not about that. It's not about your memory at all. It's about in this current moment, when I connect with that aspect of myself, what is it feeling? What is it saying? How do I feel that in my body? How is it showing up? I need to be in the feeling, to be with it, to be present with it. If I go into my thoughts, if I go into my memories, I'm leaving it again. So actually, I'm the one who keeps leaving myself. I keep rejecting myself and abandoning myself, my inner children. And then I don't have to blame myself for that. This is natural. Nobody taught us. Nobody taught us. So we're learning, we're discovering now slowly. So don't avoid realizing it. Like, let's not realize it because it hurts, because it's painful. You know what I mean? Facing it. Oh, I've been living like this with myself. I've been living in this kind of unharmonious way with myself. That recognition is the beginning of transformation. It's the beginning of transforming my relationship with my inner child into a healthier relationship. And my point here is, as we do the work to listen, to feel, listen has to be with the feeling. I'm not talking about like listening to voices in your head or something, listening to your thoughts, listening to the feeling. Listening to the part happens when we are with it, in the feeling of it. And the big shift starts to happen when we can do that, but we don't become it. We don't become that child part. We can be with it. We can be present with it, but we don't become it. Because when we become it, it takes us over, and then we're in a full reaction mode. So again, the beauty is we don't become it. And so now we start to align with, like, we're just awakening a part of ourselves, a sense of ourselves that maybe we weren't in alignment with, which is the inner parent, who can be there to hold the space, to be present, to feel, to listen, to validate. Just in a neutral and unconditional way. Unconditional way. No judgment. Just being present with that part. That inner parent starts to come alive inside. That part, that our inner parent, is more connected. It connects us to our soul, our higher self. So we start to feel our wisdom coming alive, and our like innate nurturer, like our inner mother or our inner parent, who can care for us and soothe us, whether we have anyone outside of us doing that for us or not, whether we had them at a certain time of our childhood or not. We have that part inside. That part is connected to our soul. We feel our soul, our essence coming alive inside of that wisdom, inside of that like inner aspect of ourself, who can embrace, who can hold this inner child hurting part and just let it be. So then there's no need for fixing, because you just hold it. And when our parts, that our inner child parts, right, our inner newborn self, our inner infant self, our inner 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, our inner 10-year-old, our inner teenager. There's so many inner parts. When we can hold them and just let them feel seen. Now they're getting what they need. They start to relax. They start to calm down. They don't have to be as loud and acting out and grabbing for your attention. And so as we do this with ourselves, And we're learning. We're learning a new habit of healthy relating with ourselves, healthy communicating with ourselves. This is going to help us in our relating and communicating with others, for sure. Because then we start to really see what I've been talking about here for a while now, is that like all people are, they're mirrors. They're like me. They're showing me about me. They're not different than me. I'm not different than them. And in some ways, all the unhealthy things that we see happening in this world now and through the history of time, these are coming out of like unintegrated child parts. It's childlike behavior, right? Children are mean on the playground. Children are self-absorbed, only focused on themselves. When we're babies, right? Where children are. For me, for my survival, for me, that's like a baby does that. And I'm not judging anybody because I have that part. I do that too. So I recognize my own inner baby. And then as I communicate and work with that child, I understand myself more and I understand people more. And as I change my communication with myself, right? Because when we don't do this work, then, and we have an unharmonious relationship with ourselves, so we're doing a lot of inner fighting and we're defensive and we're reacting. I have all those parts too, but they transform as my inner parent comes online and, just hold space for them, recognizes them. How long have we been telling ourselves that part is bad? That part is wrong. Shouldn't feel that. Or blaming others. You're bad. You're wrong. And we're just in this huge like deflection mess. And so the work is, as I always talk about, looking within me. Healing has to start there. Change starts there. Even if my problem is with another, looking within me, how are my parts? How are my inner children? And what do they need? And in my experience, some were kind of getting quiet and others need more. And some, oh, this one is clear, but oh, look, this new one came to my attention. I didn't realize. And every time I do that work or interact with them is my opportunity to step into that parent self. That is the grown-up me, but healthy grown-up, not just like a grown-up body, but a grown-up consciousness that can really hold a non-judgmental space of love and compassion for all my parts. And then that naturally leads to love and compassion for other people and their parts. So I'm going to pause and look at my notes for a minute. Please let me know if you have any questions about any of what I'm talking about. Does this make sense to you? Does it resonate? Are you doing this work for yourself? Anything at all you want to share or ask, please do. Okay, I don't see anything, but if you're typing, feel free to continue. The last thing I want to say is this is also something I've discovered. So transformative art healing, which I've talked about, in that there's an exercise of meeting with our guide, spirit, whatever, whoever, our higher power, whatever ancestors, any spirit that is, where wants to come or who we are ready to meet with. And in doing that, in communicating with spirit, the value of that is they teach us about our inner parent. They help us feel it. They help us wake that part of ourselves up. That's been my personal experience. I already had the ability to do the work of meeting with my inner child as an inner parent, but in having a lot of time to receive messages from spirit guides or whatever, my higher self often, that part is showing me my possibility as an inner parent. Because sometimes we get stuck as the child. And it helped me realize all the different students and clients I've had over the years who had a hard time, as I said at the beginning, meeting with their inner child because they were stuck in their inner child. So they're not able to approach it as the inner parent, which is the most powerful aspect of the whole exercise, really. Waking that part up of you, waking that part of yours up, and then seeing how when it holds space for the inner child, how it affects the inner child. So those who had a difficult time doing that, I realized that's where, sometimes coaches and facilitators, so there were many times that I had to sort of be that unconditional observer of the part for my clients. But even better than that is having time to meet with our own spirit guides and receive their wisdom and their message. They're training us. They're helping us. With each interaction, we start to feel that part of ourselves coming online stronger and stronger. So I invite you to also make that connection if this is hard for you, if this is difficult work for you, if you feel like I have no idea about this inner parent self, or if you feel I want to strengthen my connection to that inner parent self. That spirit is like a coach. It's like another coach for us, coaching us through energy, through experience, to realize, oh, this is who I am. This is my possibility. So I hope that if you haven't done transformative art healing and you are wanting to, you feel like you'd like to meet with that part of yourself. First, we have to clear a lot of the emotion. I will be having an event on the day of the winter solstice. I just dropped it into the link. So this work is challenging if you do it from your head, right? Nothing works when we're just trying to do it with our thoughts. So we always have to clear the busy thoughts, and we have to get into the feeling. And then when there's turbulent emotion, we use our tools to work with them, to calm them down, and then we can meet with that part of ourselves. It requires us to get into a certain brainwave. So don't try to fight it or force it. If you feel like it's not working and you can't get there, don't be hard on yourself. I want you to always be gentle and kind with yourself in the process. And then just I recommend at that moment, do work to connect with spirit guides, like transformative art healing or whatever meditation you have that you like. Yeah, they are showing us our potential and our possibility. And then as that self, we gain confidence. We gain confidence to be our own inner parent. And we also gain confidence when we communicate with the inner child and we see the effect, the powerful effect it has when we just validate and hold space for it. And that also grows our confidence in this work. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. There isn't really an exercise or a meditation that I want to lead because, as I said at the beginning, I don't want anything to be triggering for you. I really need to see you. You're more than welcome to reach out to me for personal facilitation, or if you want to join a group, when I can see you and sense you and I can guide you inward to have that communication with your inner child, inner children in a kind and safe and gentle, trusting, comfortable way. That is, that's the benefit of a facilitator. When we don't have trust in our own process, when we have fear of our own parts, we have fear that the inner child is going to take us over. We're going to become it. And it's going to be so bad. And all the things that the inner child is telling us, right? It's so bad. It's so horrible. Like, I'm going to die here. Like, I'm just going to unravel. That's the inner child talking. And when we don't know how to hold that space, I don't want you to feel unsafe or stuck there or triggered in any way. That's why I'm not going to lead anything right now. If I link this to EFT just helps us to calm the nervous system, to get ready to communicate and connect with those parts, to get clear. Sometimes through the tapping rounds, we can get clear. Oh, I was in the child was in the driver's seat, and this is how it was making me feel. But as we keep tapping, right, with I love and accept myself anyway, and we're going through the tapping points, the inner parent can start to wake up. So all of these are just tools to help us do this work of a reintegration with ourselves and becoming whole in and of ourselves again. Recognizing that we have these fragmented parts, and that's okay. Actually, each one of those fragments, those hurting parts, those inner children that we're unattended to, each one of them is an opportunity for us to go in and reconnect, feel, allow, be present with, validate. So we get the opportunity to become an inner parent more and more. So the more parts we have, the more opportunities we have. There's always a positive. There's always a blessing to be found, even in the struggle. Thank you, Amanda. You're sweet. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. So I didn't see any questions coming up today. I hope this is useful information for your journey. If it causes a question to arise that I didn't answer, you are more than welcome to reach out or ask in the comments after this video is posted. And if you think this could be helpful for anyone else who is on their own emotional healing journey right now, emotional integrating journey right now, please feel free to share the video, like, or subscribe. And if you would like to come to the winter solstice event, I would absolutely love to do the actual process with you. I love talking about these things because I think it's like good medicine for our heart and soul to remember these principles and these possibilities. But doing the actual process has such power. So I would love to see you there. Oh, hi, Sage. I'm glad that it resonates. Yeah, this is such an important work for us. No matter what we all have experienced in our life, instead of being upset about what we have experienced, which can happen, is natural, but we can also be grateful because it's an opportunity to awaken and align with that inner parent. So I hope you find the way to do that work for yourself. If you need me, I'm here, and I'm sending lots of love and healing light for you on your journey with your inner children, uncovering your inner parent, your wise, highest, greatest, most unconditional, loving self. Okay, so good luck on that journey and see you next time. Have a good day.